Alright, what is up YouTube? So today I'm going to be discussing Pot of Prosperity, or previously known as Pot of Disparity, versus something like Pot of Extravagance. As we've seen before, Pot of Extravagance has been in many different decks, not just the control decks, but if you've seen in early 2020, we've seen that Spirals was also playing this deck in the format. So Pot of Extravagance, a really good card, but now we have a new pot, and that is Pot of Prosperity, and I think it's gonna be a very good competition, because if you don't know what this card does, it banishes 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck, so you get to choose them face down, excavate cards from the top of your deck up to the number of cards you banish, and then add one of those cards to the hand, and then the rest go onto the bottom of the deck in any order. So this is pretty much a pot of duality, and it doesn't really lock you out of special summoning, but it does lock you out of drawing cards, and also you have all of the battle damage. So this card is pretty decent. It's not going to be used in the more going second OTK decks, but in these combo decks to where you only need like 5 to 6, maybe at most like 9 cards in your extra deck to play, you're gonna probably play Prosperity over something like Extravagance, to where you only really need 1 to 2 cards that are good in your deck. Something like Altergeist and Guru only need maybe Verte and then Dragoon, because a lot of Guru players are playing the Dragoon package, or they're playing like Numeron, so they only need like 3 of the Numeron XYZ monsters, and then the Zexal, of course. And Eldritch, all they really need, they don't technically need anything in their extra deck, but maybe like Link Spider or like the Lib combo to OTK. So a lot of these different decks that really love Extravagance are going to be playing 1 to 2 cards in their extra deck that they really need. In comparison to something like Pot of Disparity, you only really need to banish like 3 to 6 cards, and you just play your turn out, because you really only need those 9 to 6 cards in your extra deck to play your turn. Stuff like Drytron, you only really need Alpha, Mirage, and IP into Unicorn or Cerberus or Phoenix, and then the rest of the cards in your extra deck don't really matter, because you're just gonna put up your negates, you're gonna put up your Herald, you're gonna put up your IP, and you're just gonna win outright. And then going second, all you need is like Zeus, Phoenix, Unicorn, Axis Code, Boros Sword, but the other cards in your extra deck don't really matter. You just don't care about this card. So Drytron is something that you can play Pot of Prosperity in. Another deck that can play Pot of Prosperity and is also playing like Extravagance. We're seeing people play Desires. This is like the most popular one. And then a lot of people are playing like both. They're playing Desires and Extrav, and that is Virtual World. Virtual World is a deck to where you only really need a VFD and then your level 9s to kind of play your board. Maybe you like keep a Zeus and like a rank 3 XYZ monster or a rank 6 XYZ monster to kind of go into Zeus. But all of that is just like 6 to 9 cards that you really need in your extra deck. And the other ones you don't care, because you're just gonna banish it off of your Prosperity and just play your turn out regularly. Another deck that doesn't really care about the extra deck but somewhat does is Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs is a deck to where you only need Karibo, you only need Secure Gardener, and then your Dolka or your Logia to kind of play out your turn from the extra deck. And Dinosaurs did get hurt by Extravagance a little bit, because sometimes you banish like your Link Karibo and you won't be able to go into your Ultimate Conductor Tyrannodon with something like Double Evolution Pill. There's other times where you might banish like a Pentasag you needed, or you might banish all your Dolkas and you don't really have a rank 4 to go into. So something like Prosperity is definitely better for something like Dinos to play in their deck. And that is the reason why Prosperity is going to compete with something like Extrav, because with Extravagance, it's random. Of course, you're gonna banish, your important pieces. You might even banish like 3 Hextia in your deck, or you might banish all your Dragoons in your deck, or you might banish all your Link Spiders in your deck, and now you're just like, your engine doesn't really work anymore. So having something like Prosperity to be in your deck to kind of dig through your deck, also, that is another big thing. This card also digs for side deck cards. Comparatively to like Extravagance only digs to 2 cards, and those are 2 random cards. Prosperity, you can dig through 6 random cards and then choose which one you want, because sometimes Extrav you draw to those draw twos don't really matter if they're not good. But if you dig through 6 cards and pick that one important card that you need, that is really good about something like Prosperity. Maybe you're going into game 2, game 3, and your opponent's playing like a heavy spell deck. You might want to side in anti-spell, and Disparity just lets you dig in your deck for those cards. Or maybe you're looking for that Imperial Order for something like Dark Ruler No More if you really lose to that. Or you need that Solemn Judgment to negate the Lightning Storm or evenly match. So Prosperity is definitely better in those cases, but something like Extrav is definitely better to kind of like get more cards. Maybe you don't care about what you draw as long as those 2 cards are interruptions or extenders. So Extravagance is definitely a very good card, and I think Disparity is definitely a good card as well. But I think that Prosperity is definitely worth it to test out and try in these combo decks like Drytron, Virtual World, Dinos, even something like Dragon Link and Infernobles. You need to test this card out to see if it's really good, because sometimes you only really need about 9 to 10 cards in your extra deck and you just banish the rest and you don't really care, and you just combo off because you get that one important combo piece for your combo, so you can go off and play through hand traps and etc, etc. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This was kind of like a short discussion on which one is better, which one is worse, what you should try, what is like the good, you know, pros, and what is the cons of this card. Because I think while digging through your deck 3 to 6 cards, sometimes you might miss, and then, you know, you're locked out of drawing, so you have to build your deck to not play these draw cards that are really good. And then like halving the damage is also really important for going second, so like you can't really OTK with this card. So there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons. Let me know what you guys think about this card and what you think this card is going to do in the meta. I feel like this card is super good and is definitely going to see play in a lot of these different meta decks like Drytron, Virtual World, Dinos, like even like stuff like Ultra Guys, Guru, and Eldritch that do play Extrav. They're probably going to test out Prosperity to kind of test the water, see if it's better, to kind of dig through these side deck cards or these important cards you need in your deck. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I've rambled on long enough. See you guys later. Peace.